Imagine being the most desired man in America. Women throwing themselves at you. Your face defining masculinity itself. Every studio wanting you. Now imagine that every single day is a performance, that the person America loves doesn't exist, that you can never tell anyone who you really are. That's Rock Hudson, and the secret he kept for 30 years would kill him, but not before it changed the world. November 17th, 1925, in Winnetka, Illinois, Roy Harold Scherer Jr. was born. His father abandoned the family when Roy was a toddler. His mother remarried Wallace Fitzgerald, an abusive drunk who beat Roy regularly. Roy grew up big, tall, broad-shouldered, but emotionally wounded. But here's what nobody knew. Roy was different. And in 1930s to 40s, America being different could destroy you. Roy realized he was attracted to men in his early teens. And in an era when homosexuality was literally illegal, when discovery meant prison, or worse, he buried it deep. After high school, he drifted, mail carrier, truck driver. Then World War II. Roy enlisted in the Navy in 1944, served in the Philippines. Came home in 1946 with no direction. He moved to Los Angeles, worked as a truck driver delivering around Hollywood. One day, he was noticed. Not for talent, he had zero acting experience, but for his looks. 6'4", dark hair, handsome face. Agent Henry Willson saw him and saw dollar signs. And this is where everything changed. Henry Willson was Hollywood's most powerful talent agent, specializing in handsome young men. He was also gay and predatory, sexually exploiting the actors he represented. Roy became his project. Willson changed his name. Roy Fitzgerald became Rock Hudson in 1948, while he was 23. But here's the truly shocking part. Willson knew Rock was gay, used it against him. The deal was implicit. Willson would make Rock a star, but Rock belonged to him. Sexually, professionally, completely. And Rock, desperate for success, accepted those terms. Hollywood's closet was built on arrangements like this. Through the late 1940s to early 1950s, Rock took small roles, learning on the job. He was terrible at first, stiff, awkward, but so handsome studios kept giving chances. Then, in 1954, director Douglas Sirk cast him in Magnificent Obsession, opposite Jane Wyman. The film was a massive hit. Rock Hudson, at 29, became a star. And this is where the real performance began. Universal Studios had a valuable asset. A masculine leading man who made women swoon. They built him into America's ideal man. You all that heaven allows in 1955. Then Giant in 1956 with Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean. Rock earned an Oscar nomination. He was now A-list. But there was a problem. Rumors were starting. Whispers about Rock's private life. Men seen leaving his house. Wait, don't miss this detail. In 1955, Confidential magazine was preparing an exposé about Rock's homosexuality. This would have destroyed his career instantly. Universal panicked. Wilson's solution: Rock would marry, show the world he was straight. They found Phyllis Gates, Wilson's secretary. Pretty, young, compliant. Rock married her in November 1955. America breathed relief. Their perfect man was safely heterosexual. But it was a lavender marriage, a sham to hide homosexuality. Rock and Phyllis barely had a relationship. Divorced in 1958 after 3 miserable years. The marriage served its purpose, protected Rock's image, kept the secret safe. The late 1950s to 1960s were Rock's peak. He became famous for romantic comedies opposite Doris Day. Pillow Talk in 1959. Lover Come Back in 1961. Send Me No Flowers in 1964. The chemistry was electric, ironic. Audiences ate it up. The ultimate irony. America's most masculine leading man playing straight while being gay, doing it so convincingly, nobody questioned it. But Rock's personal life was carefully managed secrecy. He had relationships with men, long-term partners, brief affairs, always in absolute secrecy. His Beverly Hills house had a separate entrance for male visitors. Parties were exclusively gay, but guests entered through the back. Rock lived a double life. The public Rock Hudson, who dated starlets, and the private Roy Fitzgerald, trying to love who he loved. But the real drama was only beginning. Through the 1970s, Rock's career declined. The old star system was dying. He transitioned to television, starring in McMillan Wife from 1971 to 1977. It was successful, but beneath him. By the early 1980s, his career was essentially over. Then, in 1984, Rock met Marc Christian, a younger man. They began a relationship. Marc moved into Rock's house. For the first time at age 58, Rock had something resembling a normal relationship. But Rock was hiding something from Marc, something deadly. In 1984, Rock started feeling sick. Fatigue, weight loss, strange symptoms. He went to doctors in Paris in June 1984. The diagnosis: AIDS. In 1984, AIDS was a death sentence, and heavily stigmatized as the gay disease. Being diagnosed with AIDS meant being exposed as gay. You won't believe this, but Rock kept his diagnosis secret, continued working. In 1985, he appeared on Dynasty, playing a love interest for Linda Evans. They kissed on screen. Rock knew he had AIDS. Linda didn't, the crew didn't, America didn't. Rock kept working, even as his body failed. By July 1985, Rock was visibly ill, gaunt, weak, dying. He collapsed in Paris. On July 25, 1985, Rock Hudson's publicist released a statement that shocked the world. Rock Hudson has AIDS. The announcement made international headlines. And suddenly, everyone understood what that meant. The revelation that Rock Hudson was gay and dying of AIDS changed everything. Suddenly, AIDS wasn't just those people. It was Rock Hudson, as someone America loved for 30 years. President Reagan, silent on AIDS despite thousands dying, was forced to address it because his Hollywood friend was sick. Funding for AIDS research increased dramatically. The disease became humanized through Rock's face. But Rock was furious about one thing. Marc Christian claimed Rock never told him about the diagnosis, potentially exposing Marc through their continued relationship. Marc sued Rock's estate after Rock's death. The case exposed Rock's final months in brutal detail: the fear, the secrecy, the desperation. On October 2nd, 1985, in his Beverly Hills home, Rock Hudson died. He was 59 years old. He'd lost over 60 pounds, looked decades older, suffered immensely. He died with close friends around him, including Elizabeth Taylor, who'd known his secret for decades. And this is where the story gets complicated. Rock Hudson's death made him the first major celebrity to die of AIDS. His diagnosis and death brought AIDS into mainstream consciousness in a way nothing else had. Elizabeth Taylor, devastated, became one of the most important AIDS activists, founding amfAIR and raising hundreds of millions. Reagan finally started funding AIDS research. The disease became impossible to ignore, but Rock himself never got to live openly. Spent his entire career, 37 years, hiding who he was, playing straight, marrying a woman he didn't love, having relationships in secret, living in fear that discovery would destroy everything. He was the perfect man America wanted, but that man was a performance. Roy Fitzgerald, the real person, barely existed. Rock Hudson consumed him completely. Today, Rock Hudson is remembered in two contradictory ways. As Hollywood's ultimate leading man, handsome, charming, the masculine ideal. And as the man whose death finally made America care about AIDS. His entire life was a performance forced on him by an industry and society that wouldn't accept who he was. Watch his films now, Pillow Talk, Giant, and you see the irony. This man playing heterosexual romance while forbidden from loving who he actually loved. Some argue Rock Hudson was complicit in the lie, that he chose fame over authenticity. But what choice did he have? In 1940s to 50s America, being openly gay meant prison, violence, professional destruction. Rock did what he had to survive. Built a career on a lie because the truth wasn't allowed. And paid for it with a lifetime of hiding, culminating in a death that forced America to confront what it refused to see. An empty Hollywood soundstage, a director's chair with Rock Hudson embroidered on the back. Next to it, a framed photo, not a glamorous headshot, but Roy Fitzgerald before he became Rock Hudson, young and unguarded. And beside that, a red AIDS ribbon, the symbol that came too late to save him, but early enough to save millions. If you listen to the silence, you can almost hear it, that deep voice, that easy charm. But underneath, quieter, Roy Fitzgerald asking, what if I'd been allowed to be myself? What if being human had been enough? Some actors play roles. Rock Hudson lived one. For 37 years, he performed being the man America wanted. And it killed him. Not just the disease, but the lie. The exhaustion of never being allowed to exist as himself. That's Rock Hudson's legacy, a cautionary tale about the cost of the closet. So how do you remember Rock Hudson? As Hollywood's perfect leading man, or as Roy Fitzgerald, who spent his life trapped in a performance that society demanded? Share with us in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.